Oh, an hour 40. Yeah, we're definitely not watching all of this. We'll watch a little bit. We don't really. What are the sections? Hold on, I want to know what the sections are. How do I see the chapters? Oh, President Trump making war, making president. President Trump is subverting Israeli lobby. Trump admin is constantly more corrupt and considerably more corrupt, bombing Iran. Okay, we'll watch a few sections and then we'll go from there.
We're in a major war.
By the way, I hate Jubilee. Like, it's like one person versus 20 insane human beings who want you to die and get stabbed in the back and shit on your corpse. And then when it's like a liberal, or when it's a conservative in the center, it's like the most limp dick neoliberals.
Are we in Iran?
I mean, sure, we're in a conflict, but I don't think that this is where you actually got
Is it a war? Have you ever thought about going and fighting in this war that you're cheering on?
Like, Dr. Mike's, like, I love Dr. Mike, but his like, he got so much shit for his because he was being empathetic, and then he got so much shit for being aggressive. Like, you can't win in these.
I mean, I've thought about joining the military before. I don't know about this war specifically.
When your adversary races to arms and increases their offensive capabilities, it's going to create a security dilemma.
That's a madman mentality. Iran lost any civilians?
Yeah, I'm sure. That's how war works.
That's how war works. Like on the first day, we vaporized 170 young Iranian schoolgirls by bombing an elementary school.
Is the Trump administration actually America first? Or has MAGA morphed into something Trump supporters no longer recognize? I'm John Regalado, and from Jubilee Media, this is Surrounded. Today, we're diving into Trump's foreign policy record, the conflict with Iran, the United States' relationship with Israel, and
God, these are some of the most fucking evil people in this room, just by looking at them.
much more. I'm here in the center with our featured
Again,
guest,
being a conservative is unattractive.
Glenn Greenwald. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Are you ready to
Very rarely is there a hot conservative out there.
jump into these debates?
I am ready.
Debaters, are you ready? Let's get into it.
Hi, I'm Glenn Greenwald. I'm an author and independent journalist, and today I am surrounded by 20 Trump supporters. My first surrounded claim is President Trump is more of a war-making president than a peacemaking president.
If you would like to debate this claim, please get to the chair.
I think we'll watch this segment and then another one, then we'll probably move on to the whatever we're doing it later. Also, this kind of setup is so annoying to me. I don't think there'll ever be a hot conservative. Yeah, especially like, and what I mean, like, conservatives are unattractive. It's like personality-wise, but like, holy shit, even the way they look physically. Woo!
Hey, nice to meet you. Micah. Good
to meet you, Glenn. So,
Graphic t-shirt with a fucking suit jacket on top of it.
first I want
This looks like shit.
just ask, what makes a peacemaking president?
A peacemaking president is somebody who, in the first place of
I'll give a response to this. Someone who wants to lower the chances of war and makes deals with countries, even if they're adversaries, to prevent war from happening.
avoids war for their own country, either solves and resolves wars that they inherit, or prevents wars from breaking out that they would get their country involved with.
Okay, so you agree that prevention is a part of what makes a president a peacemaking president?
For sure.
Okay, so then what about Trump's foreign policy is not prevention?
Well, the first thing that he did in getting to office, basically within 30 days, was restarted a bombing campaign that President Biden had prosecuted throughout 2024, that President Trump during the campaign had heavily criticized. Yet as soon as President Trump got into office, he not only restarted that bombing
Yeah, because fuck Biden, dude. Oh my god. Dude, the bombing of Vietnam was
campaign, but escalated.
so frustrating.
That was in Yemen against the Houthis. It went on for about 5-6 weeks, or entailed hundreds of people
Was
who were
that
dead.
not necessary for like global trade to ensue? Was the Houthis not attacking multiple different ships? And
No, the Houthis were only attacking Israel at the time that President Trump did that. It was a peace deal that
They were only attacking Israel. And then once the Biden administration started bombing them, they started shutting off shipping lanes.
President Trump engineered that ended up being very temporary. And the Houthis said, for as long as this peace deal is in place, we won't attack ships. Once the Israelis started violating it, not letting food, they said, we're only going to attack Israeli
So here's
ships.
a question. Here's a question for you, Glenn. Are we still in conflict in Yemen?
No, President Trump ended his own war that he started.
Okay, so then by your definition, did we not prevent further conflict by having this conflict? And would we not free up the trade routes in
Israel started it.
Yemen from being attacked by the Houthis? It's free, is it not?
It's like saying I stabbed myself in the stomach, but then I brought myself to the ER where I had a doctor fix me up, and that proves that I'm really interested in fitness and self-care. President Trump started the war
True.
in Yemen. He escalated the war in Yemen. It was stopped at the
Were the
time that he
Houthis
took
attacking
over.
people or not?
They were attacking a foreign country called Israel that is not part of the United States.
Okay,
So
do these international trade routes not affect America?
No, not when it's only Israel whose ships are being attacked. You can say the war is just. The question is President
See,
Trump...
this is why you don't want to debate conservatives. This fucking idiot has not responded once to a point that the journalist is making. At all. Glenn Greenwald said, oh, they're attacking foreign countries. And then this fucking moron's like, well, Glenn was like, they're only attacking Israel. And then this fucking idiot was like, but like foreign trade.
Trump making war or making peace. You can say, okay, he made war in Yemen, but I think the war is just. He's still a war-making president by definition.
I think it's
there was
very
no war when he
clear
got
by
in.
the result of the conflict that it was a peacemaking military engagement. We have peace.
How
in
did it
Yemen
end?
now.
How did it end?
See, this guy would never be president because he knows he's lying. This person knows he's lying. This is the exact same issue with JD Vance.
How did it end?
It ended by the Houthis saying, we will not attack anybody except the Israelis, as long as they're denying food and water entering into Gaza. And they continue to do so and achieve nothing. All it did was have the United States deplete our missiles, our military force, our resources. It was a war that didn't exist, that Trump created. Yes, congratulations, he ended his own war, but that is an example of a war-making president. That's just one example. There's obviously war in Iran as well, that he inherited a presidency where we were not at war with Iran. We are now at war with Iran. We've twice gone to war with Iran under President Trump. That's another war that he's made.
Do you not agree that Iran is a
So I don't get this whole red flag thing.
major threat and destabilizes the Middle East all the time?
I don't, but we'll get to whether the war is just.
I'm feeling
question
okay,
now is,
Shadow
does
Lady.
President Trump make more wars?
Well,
you seem to be
so
acknowledging
I want
he
to
makes
go back
wars, but
to
that
what
they're
you
just.
initially agreed to, though, is that part of what makes a peacemaking president isn't just, oh, we don't start any conflicts. It's actually engaging in conflicts to prevent further
So war is
conflicts.
peace. Did you read 1984 by George Orwell?
Well, no, I'm just.
No, but
That's kind of a dumb thing to bring up, but yeah. Dude, Winston Overwatch is in 1984. Do you guys know that? Because he's like, hey there.
I'm just asking.
I'm literally quoting what you said earlier at the beginning of
No,
this
but George
conversation.
Orwell in 1984 described the most extreme kind of propaganda by war-making tyrannies. And one of the things citizens
Glenn,
get told is war
though,
is peace.
Did you not admit?
Yep, war
that
is peace is a very, very, very common American sentiment. And this is why I don't think, like, if someone's like, oh, I was in the military, that should not be a qualification to be in office, because a lot of these people believe war is peace. If you go to war to prevent war, they think that's a good thing. It is not.
Part of what makes a peacemaking president
You should only have to go to war if you're absolutely forced to.
is stepping in and preventing further conflicts.
Yes, but you can't prevent conflicts by...
Or to, yeah, like stepping in, like human rights violations, somebody's invading another country, or, yeah, human rights violations or an invasion of another country. I can't think of another reason to go to war that I would consider just. Because, like, human rights violations could be, like, slavery in Libya, or Holocaust, or genocide of Bosnians, or invasion of Ukraine would be the invading another country, or Israel and Gaza.
Starting conflicts. Starting
What do you
conflicts
mean?
is starting conflicts.
Why can you not
stops
use
the
Gotta
wars
pause
he
there.
starts.
Can you
We
not
got to pause
start?
here, Mike. We got to pause here. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return.
Thank you.
Like, being able to be voted out is so stupid. That, like, it just destroys dialogue. And this is such a fake piece of shit dialogue, too. Like, Glenn Greenwald's a decent person. Like, he's not a bad guy. And same with, like, Dr. Mike and everybody else who's been on here. Ahmedi Hassan. Like, they're doing their best, but this is not a setup where you can do a whole lot with it. And it destroys dialogue. And thankfully, like, if you have a prefrontal cortex, you can understand it, but it does make it look like he's in the minority here. When in actuality, even being in the minority with some of these issues does make him correct.
So, in reference to Trump being
Oh my God! Wait, hold on.
peacemaking
I need to see that again. Did they back off when they saw it was a black guy? dude, he's like, oh no, a black guy. Oh no, a black guy.
So in reference to Trump being a peacemaking president or a warmongering president, let's say, for example, let's start with the conflicts that he did indeed stop, right? For example, Pakistan, India. Pakistan nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. They said that he specifically played a big role in preventing that conflict. Well, India disagreed, but Pakistan, regardless, said that he played a key role in preventing it. We had Thailand versus Cambodia also break out. Cambodia nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize and also said that he prevented that conflict. I'd also say in reference to Venezuela, obviously.
Yeah, because they want American, like, assets. Everyone's going to be like, yeah, America should get this so Trump treats them better, especially with trade war shit. They knew it was coming.
No one thinks that Maduro was good there. The tyranny was crazy. The way that he was leading the government, everyone agrees. But he was able to take Maduro out, and Daisy Rodriguez, who's now the vice president, is very, you could say, subordinate or servile, right? 50 million barrels of oil, restricting Cuba, so on and so forth. And so I would disagree that he's a warmongering president.
Okay, the point is not he's a warmongering president. The formulation is he's more of a war-making president than a peacemaking president. So even in your examples, including in Venezuela, you're not denying that he used military force in a way that is considered an act of war by every country on the planet. You're defending the wars that he's making by saying they lead to good outcomes, which we can debate, but that's a separate question from the proposition. As far as these wars that you're concerned that I know he loves to cite, India was vehement that he had no role to play of any meaningful kind in mediating that conflict between
True. He didn't.
India and Pakistan. That is a war that
The reason why Pakistan said that is because they want American money.
goes back. That conflict goes back many hundreds of
But
years
so does
long
many of these
before
other
Trump.
conflicts.
But even let me ask you these questions. This question about these other conflicts that you named. Were those part of the 2024 campaign? Did
Not
anyone ever
necessarily, but I
mention
don't think
that? Right. But you know why? Because they're completely trivial, and because the role that the United States plays in them is also essentially trivial as well. These are these and.
Yep, especially in like Venezuela, like nothing changed.
And a lot, we can analyze those, but let's be clear. The real question is, does President Trump make war for the United States? Whether he plays some ancillary role in this, well, we're in a major war.
So let's
we're in a
verify
major
two
war
things.
now,
So when it
right?
came to
We're in a major
Venezuela-
war, aren't we?
She said no. Guaranteed this kid is going to be like, well, there's no real declaration of war. It's just conflicts.
In Iran?
I mean, sure, we're in a conflict, but I don't think that
Chat. Come on. You got to give me props for that prediction.
this is where you actually
A war?
got it
Is it a
wrong from last
war?
night.
Is it a
You
war?
can call it's a war and a conflict. There's no necessary, there's no disagreement there. It's a conflict and a war. It's both, right? But the conflict didn't start recently, right? In 1979, Iran kidnapped 66 Americans and held them hostage for over 400 days, right? So
Why did they do that?
happened because they're anti-Western. But hold on, just let me finish this. So the
No, that's not why that happened.
conflict with Iran, or our issues with Iran, in reference to specifically the Islamic Republic, started more there. In 1982, 3 years later specifically, there was a Beirut barracks bombing, which I'm sure you're familiar with, where 242 Americans were killed in Beirut. They were there as a peacekeeping force, actually. And guess who specifically, I believe in 2002, a federal judge actually ruled that Iran supplied Hezbollah and gave them intelligence to kill 242 Americans. On top of that, I believe in Venezuela, they have the Quds force as well that is there. They fund three main terror groups. According to the FDD, they spent about $16 billion doing so, right? Hezbollah, the Houthis in Yemen. And by the way, the last guy, you were also wrong. $200 billion worth of economic damage in reference to the Red Sea, where 1/10 of trade
Were
goes
we at
through.
war with Iran when President Trump was inaugurated?
No, we weren't directly in
Are we at
terms
war
of,
now?
Right, so
So
I
he
think
made
I would,
that
I would
war,
say,
right?
wait,
He was a war making-
hold on. Stop.
No,
So I'd
I
say
wait,
that
talked a lot. I just
I
wanna
would
get
say
an
that we're already
answer.
in a conflict. I would say that yes, generally, not like war in terms of declaring war conspicuously, but yes, we've been in a conflict, a long-standing
the
conflict
proposition is
specifically.
President Trump is more of a war-making
Right,
president.
I don't think any of those
than
conflicts were made by Trump. That's
God, dude, it's like, this is why you don't debate conservatives, man. They don't believe anything. They have zero beliefs.
you're wrong.
India and Pakistan were in conflict prior to the war that
Right,
you
and
mentioned, right?
we were in conflict with Iran.
Exactly.
prior
There
to
are a lot
this
of people
as
who
well.
are there are a
That's
lot
what you're
of
not
there are a
getting.
lot of countries that are in conflict with one another.
Right.
They're not
You're
all
right.
at war.
Was Germany and France in conflict with each other in 1910? Yes. When did World War II start? Not 1910.
Most of them are not at war. The United
Right.
States became in a war with Iran when Israel and the United States announced that they were attacking
Wait,
Iran
hold
and
on.
started a
That
war
might
with
be
Iran.
dumb.
Of course,
Right.
there's conflicts. There's conflicts between Brazil and Argentina. There's
Sure.
conflicts between Peru and Uruguay. There's
But
conflicts
you're
between.
being vague.
I'm being very specific. I'm talking about a war.
There's a difference.
Sorry,
between-
I meant to say not 1910, 1920. I was like 1910. I'm 10 years too early on that. Yeah, 1920. They were in conflict, especially after Germany Germany was demilitarized. Yeah, but they were still in conflict with each other. They didn't like each other. The person on the right is using the word conflict so loosely to describe war, and he understands like you can tell me two countries are in conflict with each other, but not at war.
Smaller conflicts or like a general conflict that's going on for a long time, and like a large-scale war, and even like, for example, small military engagements. Like, for example, Midnight Hammer, we bombed Natanz, Fordow, and Isfahan, were more smaller engagements, right?
But we killed children.
Pretty quickly, and everything was fine afterwards.
If Russia came to the United States and bombed 3 different nuclear facilities in the United States with B-52 bombers of the Russian Soviet analog, would you consider that to be an act of war?
Yeah, you're saying it would be casus belli, right?
No, I'm not
casus
talking about
belli means act of war.
Yeah, would you?
So
We need to talk about this because people on the left do this all the time, and it really makes me mad. We need to stop acting like because you use big words, you're smart. It does not mean that. Being able to understand and digest information and being able to recontextualize it to make it more easily understandable is far more valuable than using big words.
War?
Yeah, you're saying it would be casus belli, right?
No, I'm not
casus
talking about
belli means act of war.
Yeah, would you?
Like, this guy is such a dickhead.
It would be casus belli. That's the answer.
Okay, congratulations on using Latin.
Right.
I'm just wanting to. I don't want to necessarily test your language. That would be an act of war, right?
Yeah, the same way. Hold on. The same way that, for example, the IRGC, the Pakistani guy that was recently convicted, he admitted that the IRGC paid him and tried to give him intelligence to assassinate Donald Trump around the time where Butler happened. That's also casus belli.
Were we
at
war
with
Iran?
The IRGC tried to kill our president.
Were we at war with Iran?
Were we at war with Iran? We've been in conflict. And an act of war with Iran for a very long time.
Okay, but
and it's funny that you're not mentioning the fact that 242 Americans were killed in Beirut in 1982.
The United States has killed countries throughout the Middle East. You know what President Reagan did in response to that? He said the reason this happened is because we have a military base in Lebanon where we shouldn't be, and he withdrew those troops.
Yep. Because while Reagan was an evil person, he was not a moron.
That's because he knew that the reason we were being attacked was because we were interfering in that region.
Yeah, the
reason that Iran took over and the embassy was because we had overthrown their democratically elected government in 1953 and imposed a savage, brutal tyranny on them that ruled that country from 1953.
Use a big word that someone doesn't know means you're right. That's true, Invush. Yeah, that's true.
But these are all historically interesting points that we could talk about with the justification. No, it's not wrong. The point is, I asked you earlier, was the United States at war with Iran?
The answer is yes.
But you said no. And
it depends on how you're defining war. It depends on how you're defining war and long-term conflict. But hold on.
The point is, we were not at war, as you said the first time when I asked you, with Iran when President Trump took office. He didn't talk about there being a war throughout the
2011,
and we are now in a war because
2011, 2013. Over a decade ago.
Made a war.
He continued to say Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. By the way, can you explain to me the reason for 60% rich uranium? No country that has tried to, or even been in talks of trying to get a nuclear weapon, has ever reached 60% and not gotten to 90%.
Because President Trump invalidated the agreement where they were only at 3%. President Trump make this war.
No.
I want to see what he says about the Obama nuclear or the Obama Iranian nuclear deal.
That's not the answer is no.
So we have been
at a general conflict with Iran, or you could say even a war.
I am saying
over 47.
Under Obama, we had a pretty okay relationship with Iran.
7 years.
And President Trump just forgot to mention
not a good one
when he was running for
but not what we have now.
Never said, hey,
he openly said he's been very conspicuous about this. He's been very clear about the fact that we have a conflict with Iran. We have issues with Iran.
A war. We do have conflict.
Right. Again, I don't think you understand it. Wars can also be conflicts.
Exactly, but conflicts aren't necessarily wars. The question is, was there a war with Iran? And if so, why didn't President Trump bother to mention, hey, by the way, we're at war with Iran in 2024, and
he's been very conspicuous about it.
So the war didn't start.
What would be the incentive? Just like, hey, we're at war with Iran. Look, everyone understands that we've been at a long-term conflict.
Nobody understood because it was never true.
We got to pause here. Can we just hear your response and then we got to stop?
Yeah, there were several wars that President Trump started in Yemen, Venezuela, and Iran. You can say they're just or not.
No, didn't happen.
These wars did not exist. Nobody said they existed during the 2024 campaign, including President Trump. And when he announced them, he announced them.
Why the fuck are we bringing up 2011?
As with the United States in 2024.
All right, pause.
Yeah, good to talk to you. Yeah. Hello, how are you? Good to meet you.
Holy shit, she was fast. Nobody even moved.
Nice to meet you too. Okay, so I want to get back to the prompt about peace versus war. So the way I look at it is the first Trump administration was a peaceful administration. There was no new wars that were started, right? We have the
Are we being for real right now?
Abraham Accords, which Trump should have won a Nobel Peace Prize for because it was historic. And then we had something that was ahistoric, right? So the Biden administration came in between. It kind of disrupted Trump's foreign policy. And under the Biden administration, we saw the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, which was really a green light to our
Okay, the withdrawal from Afghanistan was never going to go well, and Biden obviously didn't do a great job, but it would have never gone well. That's why no president wanted to withdraw from Afghanistan, because it meant infinite negative approval rating.
anti-Western adversaries that we didn't really have the strong will to defend U.S. hegemony abroad. Following that, the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, and then we saw
Which Trump egged on.
Biden trying to re-engage in JCPOA negotiations as legacy of the Obama administration, and he unfroze $16 billion in assets to the regime, and then also waived sanctions so they could sell over $100
Yeah, so they could reintroduce the nuclear deal.
billion. They're theirs, but they're frozen.
Iran's assets.
Correct, but that's going against the maximum pressure campaign. So if you don't want war, how do you then deter a belligerent actor if it's not maximum sanctions? What would your solution be then? To let them.
In general, in every other country on the planet except the United States and Israel, war is talked about as a last resort, something that you engage in only if there's a country that's attacking you,
Which war
or
are we
attacking
talking
your
about?
homeland, or attacking. What's
Okay,
that?
so the sanctions are a legacy of the Iraq-Iran war in the 1980s. So which war are we talking about? The current operation, which is not a war?
I'm talking
or-
about why we should be at war with Iran at all.
Right, the second.
And you're saying, what is it that we should be doing
Well,
to
I'm
Iran?
saying
And
my point with talking about the Biden regime, the Biden administration, was that they empowered. We could maybe use regime. They empowered the Iranian regime diplomatically, financially, which
Genuinely some of the dumbest people in this room.
positioned them for October 7th. And also the Houthis. It is true, the Houthis blocked off the Suez Canal for 4 to 5 months. We also had British military naval ships in the region, U.S. military ships. So they weren't just attacking Israel, although yes, that was a part of it. So we saw a destabilized Middle East because of the direct.
They were attacking Israeli ships, and then when allies of Israel shot back, the Houthis defended themselves. And also the Houthis were not just, oh my god, my model's freaking out. I don't think the Houthis are a good group. And I know someone's going to take that clip out of context eventually, but conflict happens in war. True.
Okay.
And he said this earlier, wars always have conflict, but a conflict does not mean a war. Those are different things.
Let me just, it's interesting because I think there's a very American perspective because we are a country that is constantly at war, unlike everybody else on the planet. The last time China fought a war was 1979. And one of the reasons they're displacing the United States and every region in the globe, including Latin America and Africa, is because they spend their resources building up their country while we have our country deteriorating because we spend so much time and money and effort and resources on foreign
the
wars.
other take is that they don't have the conventional capabilities to enact
They
a
have a
foreign war.
massive,
Yeah, dude, China doesn't have the money to fight a war.
gigantic military. They just don't. They just know
but we still
that, which
deter
is
that
what, by
because
the
of
way,
our
which was what
military.
President Trump's primary political appeal was that we're constantly fighting these foreign wars. We have to stop fighting foreign wars in the Middle East so that we can focus on our own communities and our own country. And here we are back in another one. But I think the point about Iran is that the idea that we can just go and steal countries' money. As you said, it's
But that's not
Iran's
what the point of the
assets. They
claim
have
is.
oil
The
in their
claim is
country.
that we're
Let
at
me
war
just
with the
finish. They sell their oil to other countries. They receive money for it. We take that money using our dollar as the reserve currency. We steal it and freeze it, and then
We don't do
somehow
that. We
I
are
should also say
punishing
that
a belligerent regime.
President Trump just lifted sanctions on Iranian oil at sea,
Right.
enabling
it was
them to
a
get
will
huge
of
amounts
good
of money.
faith. It was a good faith
No,
action
it was
for China.
because he
Yes,
needed
for
to
the
do that because
negotiations.
we need oil on the global market because of oil
It's been
because
closed
gas
for-
prices are so
it's
high.
still lower than it was under the Biden administration.
No, I'm
at
saying
the
that
peak of the Biden administration.
No, it was
because of
no,
this
it's
war,
no, it's
President Trump
not. That's true. America steal that oil. Yeah,
lifted
that's true.
sanctions on Iranian oil at sea.
Yes, as
they
a
are now
goodwill to China to
charging
bring
money.
them to the
They are
negotiation
now
table.
charging money for the Strait of Hormuz, and
Yes, 'cause that's the only
and there's
tactic they have
no
left.
way there will be an end to this war that we're currently
No.
negotiating unless the sanctions are lifted on Iran.
They're
Because there's-
completely wiped out at the knee. Let me just get back to what I was saying about the Biden administration because it's important. So we look at how diplomacy has never worked. The JCPOA completely empowered the regime. Same thing with Biden again. So Trump came into a region that was completely changed. Also just globally, right? I believe the Iranian regime
Due to his lack of care.
bought 2.5 million acres in Venezuela, which is in our Western Hemisphere. So he came into a world where our anti-Western adversaries had gained strategic holdings that hinder U.S. hegemony abroad. So he went into the region and he said, okay, I'm going to negotiate with the Iranian regime. They didn't come as good faith actors to the negotiation table. Operation Midnight Hammer was a preemptive strike. They still continue
was
to come
Biden
to
at
the
war with
table.
Iran?
I would say, yeah, it's hard to be at war with a regime that you're funding.
So Biden was not at war with Iran?
Well, we were at war with Iran via Israel, if you want to look at it as a proxy situation.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, let's just suck Israel's dick. Biden was not at war with Iran. He was not funding Iran. He unfroze assets to try. Did Biden do anything in Iran? No. What Biden did was try to negotiate the Iranian nuclear deal by unfreezing assets as a show of good faith, which kind of sucks because it was really obvious that Iran would never go back to the Iranian nuclear deal, but it did build some good repertoire between the two countries, but it wasn't great.
So Biden was fighting a war against
And also
Iran.
another thing, you keep saying that Trump started wars in Yemen,
I'm trying to
in
figure out if
Lebanon.
we
Again,
about
but those
this
are
war.
proxy wars funded by Iran.
Was
those,
the United
those
States at
conflicts
war
existed
with?
way before President
Was
Trump came into
Biden
office.
waging a war against Iran?
He was funding the regime and empowering them.
Okay,
so the answer is no. It's really hard to wage war against a regime that
exactly.
you're
So the
propping
war
up.
in Iran was started by President Trump in the second
The
term,
war
correct?
in Iran is first off, it's not a war, it's an operation. We have highly
It's not a war, it's an operation.
discriminately taken out
What
heads
would
of
be
the
a war be?
IRGC.
How is it not a war?
Well, it's not a war because the Iranian regime
We're
can't
blowing up
respond
the
in a way
bridges.
that
We're
necessitates
blowing up
war.
the bridges.
Yes, it's an
We're
operation.
blowing up the,
And they've been blowing
what's
up the Middle
difference
East.
between a war and
since,
no, I'm just trying. Again, the proposition we're supposed to be discussing.
Right,
and I
he's
realize why
war-making.
you don't want to and others don't want to. Is
No, I am.
President,
I'm
no,
demonstrating how the regime was empowered when
you
Trump
have
came
to
to
let me
office,
finish.
so it
You
necessitated
have
a
to
response.
Okay, why the fuck is Poland in the bottom left corner?
That was different
You
than
have
his
to let
first
me finish.
administration when there was
Was
peace through
President?
strength.
You have to let me finish. What the question we're supposed to be debating
Which
is that
I
President
answered.
Trump is more of a war-making president
And I
than a
just said he
peacemaking
came into a
president.
situation in the Middle East that was vastly different than the one that he
No,
left
I
because
understand.
of
I
weak
understand.
foreign
I'm
policy.
trying to ask about war,
Okay, so
which
then
is
what is the response then? So if it's not high pressure
was
sanction
President
mechanism-
Biden waging a war on Iran? Yes or no?
Well, if you were talking about responding
just
to all,
answer that? Why
so
can't
then
you
yes,
answer?
If Iran is considered the Houthis, the Hezbollah, Hamas, then yes, we
President
were waging
Biden
a war.
was waging a war on
yes,
Iran.
via our proxies.
I thought you said he was so favorable to Iran that he
I
was
said
treating
he
Iran
empowered
so
the
well.
regime. Yeah, both sides of the conflict, but he empowered the regime.
Were we at war not with Iran's proxies, but with Iran itself under
well,
Joe Biden?
Iran actually broke the status quo of not engaging with Israel, our greatest ally. In
That's just not true. That's just not true. Israel bombed Lebanon and Gazans, which Iran said that we need to defend them. Iran's like, we'll defend them if you attack, and then Israel attacked.
May
Did Joe
2024.
Biden wage a war on Iran?
It's not. First off, again,
Why
I
can't
am
you just
contesting-
answer? Why can't you just
I just
answer?
said yes. If you're going to consider via proxies, which
No,
you
I'm not. I don't
apparently-
mean via proxy. I mean
Well,
directly
you
with
said,
Iran.
Okay, but you're contradicting yourself because you said Trump started wars
I'm
in
only
Yemen,
asking a
and you defined it by
question.
the
I'm
proxies
only
in
asking a
Yemen. So you
question.
can't define war one way for Trump
I'm
and
only
not
asking a
with Biden.
question.
We got to pause there. We're out of time. Please return to your seat.
I wouldn't even shake her hand, dude. That kind of like civilness is frustrates me.
Raise your flag if you would concede that Trump started this current war with Iran. Okay, so we got two people. Thank you.
My next round of claim is President Trump is subservient to the Israel lobby.
What are the other claims?
Application using the link in the description.
My next round of claim is the Trump administration has been considerably more corrupt than the Biden administration.
I'm curious about that one because I know these guys are gonna suck Israel's dick. Bombing Iran is not in the American people's interest. We basically got the Israel and other things out of the way. I want to look at the corruption one.
Application using the link in the description.
My next round of claim is the Trump administration has been considerably more corrupt than the Biden administration.
All right, if you'd like to debate this claim, please get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Hello.
Hello.
There's no way she wasn't up before one.
There's so many things I could talk for hours on end. Even giving Kamala Harris an appointation of I don't know if that's a word, but appointing her as the next candidate because he wasn't able to run. You're America First, right? That's what
Right,
you're saying, right? Okay, so do you agree that it was corrupt?
So I'm somebody who believes that there was a lot of corruption in the Biden administration. My claim is not that the Biden administration was free of meaningful corruption. It had a lot of corruption. My claim is that the Trump administration has a lot more corruption. And we can talk about what those financial
What?
deals are.
Please.
Okay, well, I'll just give you one example.
Okay.
Jared Kushner, who's now running Middle East foreign policy and negotiating Middle East policy for Donald Trump, his son-in-law.
And doing a great job.
Right before he
God, she's so dumb. I don't mean to like. I've been around a lot of white Midwest alcoholic / crack addicts. She's one of them. And yeah, I'm gonna insult her. Fuck this stupid bitch.
he was put into that position just a year or so earlier, he created a hedge fund, and the number one investor were the Saudis, who invested $2 billion in Jared Kushner's fund, both as a reward for a job well done, for the service that the Trump administration in the first term gave to the Saudis, and also for making sure that the Saudis' interests are protected. It's basically a bribe directly to the Trump family. The Trump family created a crypto company called World Liberty Financial, 49% of which is now owned by the United Arab.
Yep. This is why the UAE told Trump, you got to stop. And he did.
Emirates. We've heard so much here about how important the UAE
Yes.
is, about how Saudi Arabia is, and they're funneling gigantic sums of money directly to the Trump family.
Okay, but look at, I just want to interject a little bit because look at Nancy Pelosi. Look at all the inside trading.
I agree with you completely.
It goes way
Trump is doing inside trading.
beyond that.
No, that's
so
not
both
way beyond
sides
that.
do it. Is it
Oh my God, way beyond that? When Trump's coin was bought out by the Saudis?
right? No, but Biden administration and all of the people on the Democratic side are doing
the
it so
UAE?
much worse on such a larger scale. It's affecting America.
I worked a lot on the Hunter Biden corruption case, principally that he got $50,000 a month from a company in Ukraine called Burisma when Vice President Biden had immense influence in Ukraine.
It was way more than
and
that.
as Andy McCarthy said, who's a longtime Republican conservative prosecutor, in order to talk about or compare the corruption, similar corruption by the Trump sons and by Jared Kushner, you have to add 2 zeros to the amounts. And I think that's what the concern is.
Biden was
Okay,
so
we
corrupt,
gotta
it's
we
not
gotta
even
move
an
on.
issue.
Thank you. You've been
Thank you.
voted
It was
out.
actually fun doing this.
Yeah. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good.
So I think that we can
This guy looks like he's so fucking racist.
see corruption pretty, well in the Biden administration. You've got Joe Biden's drug addict son that got convicted on gun charges, on tax evasion
Trump has been convicted of rape 13 times.
charges, and Joe Biden used his pardoning power to erase that completely. But I think that we can see corruption in its finest when you have a senile old man like Joe Biden, who is getting propped up and is basically a puppet for the Democratic Party.
So I think when we talk about corruption, we're not talking generally about just bad acts or malfeasance in government. We're generally talking about the influence of ill-gotten gains or malicious motives or self-interested motives in government decisions. What made
Why the fuck are you shaking your head back there, bitch?
the Hunter Biden case corrupt was not his drug addiction or his tax evasion. Those were personal bad acts on his part.
Well, it's a
when he
bad use
wasn't
of
part
the
government.
it's a bad use of the pardoning power for Joe Biden to do that. It shows clear corruption.
Yeah, I mean, President Trump has pardoned dozens of people, all of whom are very wealthy, who stole money from investors, who have friends that are very close to the Trump administration. There's a whole pardon industry surrounding the Trump White House where if you have enough money and you can pay $1 million or $1.5 million or $2 million to close Trump associates, you will get a pardon. But the problem with the Hunter Biden case, what made that so concerning was that he was monetizing the influence that Joe Biden had in Ukraine in order to get all kinds of money for himself. This is what Donald Trump Jr. is doing, Eric Trump is doing, and especially Jared Kushner is doing.
Hunter Biden is not a good person. He definitely monetized Biden's influence. The only thing that I think is really funny about Hunter Biden is that he just fucks women and does coke. Meanwhile, Trump's son does coke, ketamine, and swimming.
Region of the world that President Trump has been
Nope.
most influential, which is
Middle
the
East.
Persian Gulf, where there's the most amount of money. Billions of dollars have flowed to the Trump family through properties and entities that they've created, including World Liberty Financial,
Sure.
including Jared Kushner's. Does that not concern you the way it did with Hunter Biden?
I'm not.
Talking about billions of dollars.
Right. Well, I mean, the HOC did report that the Biden family received $24 to $27 million.
I'm talking about billions. Again,
yeah, we're talking about
McCarthy
billions.
said
So
you have to
basically,
add 2
you're
zeros.
just basically saying that Trump was better at being.
No, I'm saying it's great. It's more damaging corruption.
So you're criticizing Trump for being more of a businessman, a better businessman than Joe Biden.
It's like saying, oh, that
Oh, what the fuck? Yay, Biden was corrupt. But Trump is better at that than Biden, but we're going to call it being a businessman. This is holy shit.
guy stole a Milky Way, and that guy defrauded billions of dollars from old ladies. So this guy's better than this one at being a crook, at being a corrupt,
they're similar.
At being a corrupt criminal. Yes, I do think Trump's better at that.
Yeah, I mean, corruption is similar as far as how it's monetized.
We got pause there. Flags are up. You've been voted out.
Yeah, because this guy was actually just walking himself to a grave. Holy shit. And that's what's so annoying with the flags. You can just get out of walking yourself towards a grave because people realize, hey, what you're doing is really fucking stupid.
Good lead.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. So you're saying that Trump is more corrupt than Joe Biden? That's what you're saying?
I'm saying the Trump administration has a lot more corruption than the Biden administration has.
Okay, I'm guessing by what, the war or his kids or
What? I'm trying to figure out where his accent's from.
what?
I think we're focused primarily on financial corruption. I mean, you can talk about other kinds of corruption as well, but
It's always somebody that's I will never understand foreign-born people in the U.S. That are American citizens wearing Trump hats.
The concern about Hunter Biden and the money that he made off his father's influence, which I found extremely objectionable and still do, pales in comparison to the extreme fortune that the Trump kids and Jared Kushner are building off of Trump's power.
Okay, well, Trump is not corrupted at all. We're not in a war as well. Sorry, there's so many. I wanted to answer you on so many things, but you're not being specific about how it's Trump, his administration corrupted. What exactly? Because his kids aren't the administration. It's just Donald Trump. So how is...
Well, Hunter Biden wasn't the Biden administration, but it was just the
I
president's
don't
stuff.
care about Joe Biden. I want to go on. You're
Oh
saying
my
Trump.
God, dude! What the fuck is? Ugh.
Okay, Trump administration. How is he more corrupt?
It's a comparison between the Biden administration. But
Say
I'll tell
what, the most corrupt thing that Trump has done.
I'll tell you what there's a lot of things, but the main one is they created a company shortly before Trump's inauguration that's a crypto company called World Financial Liberty.
No, that's not...
You got, if you want me to explain, I can explain it, but you got to let me explain.
So you're saying that he's corrupt that in a way that he can get in trouble just like Hunter Biden got in trouble.
There's the World Financial Liberty, which is the crypto company that the UAE has invested hundreds of billions of dollars in, that has 49% ownership, that paid a huge amount of money to enrich President Trump. On top of that, he created this coin, the Trump coin, where any foreign influencers or foreign power can pour as much money as they want into Donald Trump's pocket and have done so.
Are you aware that Trump? Are you aware that Trump never has took his presidential checks? Are you aware that he's given up all?
Yes, that's congrats.
Oh, that's just $450,000. That's it. Okay. Are you aware that he's given up all his everything he owns?
Given it to his family members. Indulging in this today, yes, he's just brainwashed, not a bad person. Willful ignorance. I'm sorry, but willful ignorance. It's his fault for being so fucking ignorant.
Trump's an infinitely richer man now than he was when he saw the presidency in 2016.
Are you jealous of that, or like because he's
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be jealous of somebody who's named in the Epstein files more than anybody else besides Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Isn't it? Is that jealousy or something? Are you jealous of that? That he knows what to do with his money and he knows how to do it?
Were you a critic of Joe Biden?
He is not corrupt. He's not even close to corrupt. And you know what? You want to know what you're doing right now? You're saying that I saw you corrected yourself. You said you were saying Trump to the other people, but now you're talking to me and you said Trump administration. So
no, the formulation is the Trump administration has been significantly more corrupt than the Biden administration.
Yes,
that's what it's been from
Trump,
the start.
And then you were talking to them saying Trump, and now you're saying Trump administration.
I'm saying both. I explained to you how Donald Trump is corrupt.
Okay, so Trump is not the administration. Trump is Trump. So you think he's in control of whatever happens on something else?
Yes! Yes! He's the president of his administration!
The company that received hundreds of billions of dollars from the UAE is Trump's company.
And that's all Trump's fault?
Trump's company, he created the company with Steve Witkoff, Is that
Trump's fault, yes or no?
Yes, of course it's Trump's fault. He was the one who created the company.
How is it Trump's fault?
Because Trump is the one who received all that money and now is in bed with the UAE. It's exactly the kind of quid pro quo that
we got to pause there. We got to pause there.
No, I don't think. I think it should be.
We got to pause there. You've been voted out.
Hey, good to see you again.
Good to see you again. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, fuck this guy. Oh my God, he has a fucking notebook.
As I've been listening, I've been writing down all the areas of corruption that I could think of from the Biden administration. And so what you have to prove is that what Trump has done is greater than all of
considerably
this.
more, exactly.
Right. So you have Biden's auto pen, where he's just signing legislation without actually not knowing
Trump
what
also has an auto pen.
You have
Every single president has an auto pen.
You have OSHA. Well, let me. Well, hold on. Let me list.
Okay,
because
go ahead.
You have OSHA, where he tried to cram down vaccine mandates on working Americans unconstitutionally. You have
Was never required. It was never required. Businesses made their own decisions on vaccines. It was never required, except for by federal offices, to get vaccinated, which has been a thing for decades.
$100 billion in COVID fraud during the Biden administration. You have Hunter Biden, and I know you agree with that, so don't need to go into that too much. You have millions of illegal immigrants entering in the country and changing the voter base. You have free college. He tried to do that unconstitutionally. You have Burisma. He went after Trump illegally through different court cases. And you'll love this one. You know how much, you know who is the greatest senator who have taken the most amount of money from AIPAC? Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
$4.2 million.
Joe Biden's a-
APEC sucks. Glenn has not made that argument once.
Fanatical. I know that.
$4.2 million.
No, Trump has gotten more from the pro-Israel lobby, but Joe Biden has spent his entire career in captivity to Israel. So
Your burden is to prove
let me
that everything that Trump has done outweighs all those.
Have you? I think there's an issue with corruption and what that means and what that includes and doesn't. But it's not every bad act. But let's just leave that to the side for a minute.
Okay.
You sat here and you've heard me list all of the different ways in which Trump, his sons, and Jared Kushner have built a multi-billion-dollar personal fortune by trading on their power. You've heard all those. I'm not saying you agree with them, but you've heard me outline those, correct?
I've heard you outline.
Do you agree or disagree with the claims that I've made about those?
Well, what I want to get to is
no, I know,
your
but
actual
we're building a comparison. So I heard you.
Sure,
what you
sure.
Put in
So
the
why
Biden
don't you
column,
go ahead and list all the multiple things, right? Because I have. So
I'm asking you.
the corruption there, right? Okay. So then now go ahead and list all the other things.
I just got done saying to you that while you were sitting behind me for the last 15 minutes, I've listed 6 or 7 different ways in which Trump, his sons, and Jared Kushner have built a multi-billion-dollar personal fortune by trading on his personal power. I don't think there are things that compare in the Biden administration to the level of personal corruption. And what I'm asking you is whether you
don't think going after your political opponents.
I'm asking you is whether you think
illegally. You don't think
Trump has gone after his
illegally
as well. He tried to indict James Comey. He tried to indict Letitia James, and even the grand jury threw them out. But I'm asking you about the examples that I listed. Do you think I've accurately described the personal corruption of Trump,
saying,
his
even
son?
if I grant your
no, but
premise,
I want you to grant it. I want to know if you think I've accurately described it, because we're talking about billions of dollars in personal wealth. And if you think the corruption is worse in the Biden administration, tell me the billions of with all of the examples you named. Do you think? I want you
to defend the claim that you're making.
I'm defending it. So Jared Kushner created a vulture capital fund, an investment
Inside Trader, we need to get on that. Yeah, dude. I need to get on that Inside Trader shit.
Fund in which the primary investors were the Saudis, who invested $2 billion into Jared Kushner's personal fund. The Emiratis have invested hundreds of millions of dollars as well. Donald Trump, his sons, Steve Witkoff, and his sons created a crypto company that the UAE has devoted hundreds of billions of dollars to and then bought a 49% stake share in. The Qataris have done the same. Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump just created a new drone company that they're now selling to the Pentagon and getting contracts from the Pentagon that will further personally enrich the Trump family. We're talking about a level, billions and billions of dollars in personal wealth that did not exist before Donald Trump entered the presidency that now exists in his family by virtue of these deals with the exact countries on which he wields the most influence.
There's 2 points I want to make. Okay, so first off, right, even let's say I grant all of that. Let's say I grant
because
all
it's
of
true.
That. No, let's say I grant all of that. That still doesn't prove your claim. I brought up a whole list of things that Biden
how much
has done
money
that's
did
corrupt.
Biden and his family make? But how much?
Can I make my second point?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Are American citizens not free to pursue business activities outside political office?
No, they're
Can
not.
Obama not pursue a Netflix deal?
Interest.
Can Obama not pursue book deals?
Once
with
he's
other
out of
people?
office, he can. Once he served 2 terms and is out of office. Was
Trump in office when this was happening?
Yes, the World Financial Liberty.
Yes! He was an elected official!
What?
Company was created in the transition after he won the election and before he was inaugurated. 4 days before he was inaugurated, he created that crypto company into which hundreds of billions of dollars of foreign money have flowed, enriching the Trump family. I don't think you know about these transactions. I don't think there's things people have brought up that I don't know about. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying I think you ought to go and look at those transactions.
You're just not defending your claim. Again, even if I would grant
I'll
you
leave
all
it to
of
the
that,
audience to decide if I've defended
even if I grant you all of that, you still have not addressed anything about Biden. You refuse to do so.
All right.
Good to meet you. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
So you mentioned Donald Trump's crypto endeavor. So could you tell me a little bit more about that and how that makes him corrupt?
Sure. There's actually a constitutional prohibition on political leaders accepting or receiving gifts from foreign countries because of the obvious and extreme potential to corrupt U.S. foreign policy, because foreign governments and foreign leaders can pay money into the pockets of American officials in exchange for favors. So Trump, by creating this World Financial Liberty crypto company, along with Steve Witkoff and his kids, made it so that not just it's a potential that foreign governments and foreign leaders can invest huge amounts of money that go into Trump's pocket, but that was what the company was created for, and that's exactly what has happened.
You mentioned that Trump was in violation of some type of federal law that restricted presidents from doing business.
It's a constitutional amendment.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so that you did not make that claim. You didn't say Trump was in violation of a constitutional amendment to try to protect the interests of the American people. You said that he was corrupt.
Oh my God. We're just not this shit makes me so fucking angry.
Corrupt. So
because they have such a fucking oh, I'm better than you, you piece of shit. Oh, I mudded it.
Trump has a business. Does Trump own it, or does his family own it?
And I also think both is wrong. I think the Trump administration and the Biden administration, any administration having family own property or a business that is being able to be sold out to a foreign adversary or anybody for favored for the president and any sort of political office should be illegal.
Owned it when he founded it, and once he was inaugurated president,
Yeah,
he
so he
transferred
followed the
ownership to his
rules. He
sons.
followed the rules of
I'm
the
not saying.
amendment.
I'm not saying.
Right?
But
He followed the rules of the amendment, and also you have
He's not saying that he didn't follow the
no
rules.
evidence of
Joe
him being corrupt.
Joe Biden also was not convicted for any matters relating to Hunter Biden's business activities, even though most people in this room, as I've heard, and I would agree, think those activities were corrupt. There are lots of political corruption
who
that don't
should be
end up
indicted?
crossing the political line of corruption. Corruption is when you do things that look and have the potential to be untoward because the way you're monetizing and exploiting your political power, which is supposed to be in service of the public, for your own personal wealth.
But how do you have
instead.
proof that he did this out of interest of the American public?
What we know,
So,
what
and
we
also,
know,
who should be indicted?
what we know.
Somebody should be indicted, right? If there's corruption, who should it be? Donald Trump Jr., Eric
There's
Trump,
a lot.
Donald Trump, who should it be?
There's a lot of corruption. I think it's corrupt
All of them.
when the pharmaceutical lobby goes to members of Congress and says, "Well, donate $100,000 to your political campaign or spend $100,000 on your
I would
election in
agree that's
exchange for the."
corruption.
But
Yeah,
it's not
I would agree
criminal.
that's
But
corruption.
it's not criminal. It's not criminal to do. And so there's all kinds of corruption, unfortunately, in our
So first of
system
all-
that has been legalized.
Okay, so we both agree Trump didn't break the rules. He gave the company
Based
to his
on
sons,
no,
right?
I think we need
Essentially,
to.
Yeah, he's not.
That's what he did with
Probably
his-
we need an
Neither did Biden, though. Biden didn't break any rules. That's why he was never in. You should elect an animal as president just for funnies. Can we elect Winston Overwatch?
We need an investigation to see exactly what happened. But based on what we know in the public, just the mere fact that
Do you
Trump
think
is
Trump is-
creating
How high are you, man?
a company, that Trump is creating a company
Do you think
4
Trump is trying
days
to
before
profit?
he's been
So
massively
he's trying to
enriched.
profit.
He's been massively
So
enriched by these
Trump,
transactions.
during his first presidency, his net worth actually went lower than when he originally was inaugurated in 2017.
It's like
Dog, because it was pushed everywhere else and then returned to him. Just because you don't hold on to the assets that benefit you doesn't mean that you're not wealthy.
3 times greater now than it was when he sought the presidency in 2016.
Yeah, because the inflation happens, time goes on, and
Inflation.
Because he
Biden was
got
president.
because he got
But
billions of
during his
dollars from
term-
the Persian Gulf
during his
dictatorships
term from
with whom
20
he's closest
during
in
his
his
term,
presidency.
During his term from January 2017 to January 2021, Donald Trump's net worth went down. During the Biden administration, his net worth went up, most likely because of inflation, because the Democrats were rampant with printing money.
Seriously.
No, net worth doesn't go up for Ramatra for president. Yes.
Question. Just imagine a president, a Democratic president that's not Donald Trump. 4 days before they're inaugurated as president, they create a new company, and into that company flows hundreds of billions of dollars or billions of dollars from the very countries that'll be most affected by that president's foreign policy. That wouldn't concern you at all? You don't think there's anything
Well, I could have a concern
disconcerting
of it. There
about
could be a
that?
suspicion, but I'm not going to make a claim that he's corrupt, and that's the claim that you're making right now.
Because everything that Trump has done since then has benefited those very countries that enrich.
Exactly. He's not bringing it up probably because he didn't. This was probably recorded beforehand, but you could say he stopped the attack on Iran to make sure the Strait of Hormuz isn't even further damaged and oil production isn't even further damaged because the UAE asked him to, because the UAE owns him.
His family so greatly with billions of dollars in personal wealth
So every
to
single
his
thing that he's
family,
done.
and not only that, but the Saudi
So
investment
you
in
think the
Jared
Iran
Kushner's
war
fund,
negatively affects the UAE? But the Iran war negatively affects the UAE, right? And Donald Trump somewhat
The
caused the
UAE
Iran
is
war.
thrilled with the Iran war.
Really?
As people said
Really?
earlier,
they're having
the
shit,
UAE,
they're having shit
the
fall on their
UAE
cities.
The UAE
They're having
hate-
shrapnel
yes,
fall on their
the
on
UAE
Dubai?
hates
Really?
Iran. They're encouraging Iran. They're encouraging Trump to continue. They want regime change. They despise
agree they
Iran.
hate Iran.
So do the Saudis. This war is done. Trump would never have done this war without those very countries with whom he's closest, which coincidentally has also poured billions of dollars in personal wealth into his family. If that isn't corruption, I don't know what is. And all of you thought that what Hunter Biden did, which was on a much, much smaller scale, you all thought that was corruption. I did too, because I'm actually consistent. I don't change my principles based on
That's
which
great.
party is in
Awesome.
office. It's the same exact transaction, only as Andy McCarthy said, the longtime conservative prosecutor, in order to compare Trump's kids and Biden's
How long
kids.
you gonna
have to
do
add
stream
2
for a couple
zeros
hours at
to what
least?
Trump's kids are doing.
All right, let's pause there.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. You can't debate these fucking idiots, dude. You can't. There's so much that they say that is complete fucking horseshit that it's more difficult than not to debate them. Because why give these people a platform in the first place? They don't deserve a platform. What have they done to deserve this platform? They're just lying about all their principles. They go back and forth on what they believe constantly. And they make exceptions. Like, these people know they're lying or they're willfully ignorant. And that's why I don't find it valuable to debate with conservatives on a grander scale. I think there's a couple exceptions to that, obviously. You rage baited yourself watching this stuff. That's true, but it's like, it's a good thing to point out, being like, hey, here's fucking, yeah, you're not wrong. Why even debate them? Why not tell them, hey, shut up, you don't deserve to say anything about this political decision, you don't know what you're talking about, and then move on? Why do we have to be nice to these people? They want black and trans people to die. What's up, Batmax? Beyond frustrating. And then Jubilee letting this shit happen makes me angrier than I'm never watching a Jubilee video again. Dude, I watched the one Democrat versus 20 MAGA 3 months ago, and then the Dr. Mike one. Oh my god, the Dr. Mike surrounded genuinely made me so angry. I feel like shit. That sucks. Go watch Dr. Mike. It'll make you feel better. He'll medicine you through the screen. But yeah, I don't know, man. Obviously, these people are fucking disgusting, and Jubilee makes so much money off of this. And it's never like, whenever they have a Republican in the center, they have the most limp dick people around them. But then whenever they have a what's it called? Whenever they have a whenever they have a liberal in the center, they have the most insane. He said 6'7" in the video. True. They have the most insane, bad shit, crazy people on Earth. And like, look at this shit. I hate Jubilee. Americans versus immigrants. Psychiatrist and 20 depressed people. MAGA versus leftist. 1 Israeli versus 20 pro-Palestinians. Round 2. Jesus, man. 1 congressman versus 20 Epstein file critics. Ro Khanna. Wait, what? Oh, these are people that are... Wait. Yeah, fuck. Siblings are... Yeah. Slop. It's just slop.